Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome back again, everybody. How's everybody doing? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we're going to get back into it, man. We're going to get right back into it. Check this out, man. There's two high school students, one or the other, or one or both, are suspected to be Haitian. And then there's a Black Lives Matter organizer who have been appointed to the Boston Reparations Task Force. What do y'all think about that one? There is a lot to say. I'm sure you guys might have a lot to say about that as well. And so, yeah, we're going to get into it, man. So check this out. Two high school students and one college student will serve on Boston's Reparations Task Force. Now, listen to what I'm going to say that again. One college student and two high school students will serve on Boston's Reparations Task Force. All right. College student Carrie Mays gained local attention in 2020 when she helped organize a Black Lives Matter protest in the city. The 10-member panel, because apparently there's going to be 10 people there for the Boston Reparations Task Force. The 10-member panel will decide how much money to pay the Black community and whether funds should be doled out to Black immigrants. I'm going to read that one again. The 10-member panel will decide how much money to pay the Black community and whether funds should be doled out to Black immigrants. All right, I just now told you that there were two high school students and one college student who will serve on this Boston's Reparations Task Force. All right. So let's throw on them analytical and critical thinking questions. Let's throw on the hat so we can ask some questions. Number one, let's go with the Black Lives Matter. With the controversies going on with Black Lives Matter and the thing with all the money, which I still haven't really heard too much being done. People collecting that money, right? Let me move around a little bit. But the people, the Black Lives Matter, right? How did this one, I don't know the girl personally, right? I think she's in her early 30s, this college student, if I'm not mistaken. But how was it allowed that, let me see if this is a little better. Yeah, it looks like a lot better there. Get that camera straight, the lighting straight. But how much, when it comes to this Black Lives Matter, with all the controversy going on with that, and the money's not really going to the victims' families, the ones that were killed, and the situations where they were saying, they just started this organization to make money off of Black pain, Black suffering, Black death. How does she make it on there? Number one, right? Then we have the two high school students. All right. I purposely didn't put their pictures on there right now. As you see, there's the Black Lives Matter organizer because she's an adult. And I'm not sure, for what I understand, there are two juniors. And we'll get into that in a minute. Two high school juniors. So I don't know if they made 18 years old yet. And so I decided not to put their picture out, although their picture is out. I have a copy of the picture. I could put it up there, but I'm just deciding not to do it at this time. But it's two high school males and this female that are part of the Boston's Reparations Task Force, right? And I'm gonna read this thing real quick again. But it's suspected that out of the two high school students, one or the other or both are of Haitian descent, Haitian immigrants. All right. So let me read this again. Two high school students and one college student will serve on the Boston's Reparations Task Force, right? College student Carrie Mays gained local attention in 2020 when she helped organize a Black Lives Matter protest in the city, I guess the city of Boston. And now the 10-member panel will decide how much money to pay the Black community and whether funds should be doled out to Black immigrants. Like I said on the last broadcast here regarding the HBCU allowing, crowning the Latina Miss Coppin University. It's kind of funny that when it comes to Black Americans and the lineage of Black Americans who's are the descendants of American slaves and of American slavery, I can't figure out how Black immigrants even fit into this picture and how it's allowed to even decide on whether funds should be doled out to Black immigrants, right? We're going to go into it a little bit deeper. High school juniors, I'm just going to say their first names. I'm not going to give their last names right now. Like I said, I don't know if they're still juveniles, under 18. So I'm going to give them that little bit of a grace and leeway. Again, their pictures are out there. I'm just going to say their first name and just leave it at that. All right. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. So high school students. And probably if I said what the school was, people probably know. But so high school juniors, Damani, that's how you pronounce my name on the screen. Damani, just different spelling. And Denelson, that's just the other guy's first name is Denelson, and the other guy is Damani. All right, I'm gonna leave their last names out of it. So Damani and Denelson, as well as 22. I said she was in her 30s, but she's 22 years old, 22-year-old University of Massachusetts student and Black Lives Matter organizer Carrie Mays. So Carrie Mays is 22. She's an adult. Were named to the city's reparations task force on Tuesday. It is unclear what expertise the two high schoolers will provide, which was one of the things I was going to bring up. But a profile of the Jeremiah E. Burke High School says it is located in one of Boston's most historically marginalized areas. Now, be careful about the code words. You have the code word marginalized. There's so many code words. One of my podcast episodes, I broke down a bunch of code words. So we're going to add marginalized to the list. Diversity, minority, inclusion. There's so many code words that's supposed to mean Black, but they're not really talking about Black people. All right. So marginalized is just another word there. So again, it is unknown what type of expertise these two high schoolers, either one or both, are of Haitian descent. And so the question bears, one of the analytical questions or critical thinking questions is, why are high schoolers, and they're only juniors in high school, even allowed to be on a task force at this younger age? Do they know any of the struggles? They haven't been, they're not old enough. They haven't been experiencing different things in life yet to really know what the struggles are with Black Americans. Did they even do any studying on anything reparation wise, even just a tiny little bit? Do they do any type of studying, whatever books they need to read, or any even articles, man, if you want to just keep it real simple, just even a little bit? So what expertise do these young kids have to make decisions on how much Black Americans in Boston are going to get for reparations, and then whether or not Black immigrants should get some money? You see the game that's being played. They're trying to get immigrants, Black immigrants, this money, and they have nothing to do with their ancestors being involved in slavery in America, right? Nothing to do with it at all. But you got these two high schoolers. I'm assuming they're only 17 years old, and that 122-year-old girl from, Black Lives Matter organizer or whatever. But these two high school student males, how much knowledge, how much experience? They couldn't be experienced in having, experience in different racial issues in life. And so how can you put them on a Boston Reparations Task Force to decide whether or not, or how much money Black Americans should get, and then whether or not funds should be doled out to Black immigrants? All right. So again, it says the 10-member panel will decide how much money to pay the Black community. So part of this 10-member panel are these two high school students that are only 17 years old. How much do they know about reparations? Did they go through anything specifically in life personally, any experiences, any racial prejudices, or anything like that, to even be able to talk about or to help them decide on how much money? But how much money goes back to going through all the things in history and slavery and trying to calculate how much money up to this point that Black Americans would get based off their ancestors putting in that work. All right. I'm just going to leave it there, let y'all answer that one or figure that one out, or even just think about it. All right. So again, it is unclear what expertise the two high schoolers will provide, but a profile of the Jeremiah E. Burke High School says it is located in one of Boston's most historically marginalized areas. So because they're located in some marginalized area of Boston, that's supposed to give these two high school students who are possibly Haitian some type of credibility to decide how much money Black Americans should get. And they use the word Black community. So it's almost like they're trying to play the trick game, like they're going to give it to all types of Blacks and not the ones who were specifically had ancestors involved and as a lineage into slavery. And then deciding on how much to give Black immigrants. How much do they really know? But Mays had gained local attention, which is the Black Lives Matter young lady, 22 years old, for her efforts to rally people to Black Lives Matter protests in Boston following the death of George Floyd. They keep using his name like it's water now. In June 2020, she said the message resonated with her because her family was once stopped by police at gunpoint, causing her personal trauma. Mays now organizes discussions about racism at her school and has spoken about the issue of national conferences or at national conferences. Her social media profiles are also filled with messages supporting Black Lives Matter and spewing her identity politics, with a pinned post on her Facebook profile demanding whitewashed school curriculum teach Black history beyond slavery. Now that's real interesting. If they're saying she said that, because isn't part of this reparations have something to do with the enslaved Black Americans here? And she wants to, which is cool, teach Black history beyond slavery. But what does that mean? That's what this young lady is talking about. Carrie Mays, this lady here, young lady here in the picture. Let me pull that picture up real quick. All right, let me pull that up. Let me pull that up. That is Carrie Mays. She's 22 years old. She's supposedly the Black Lives Matter organizer. And what I just read about, spoke about. So are they trying to say these are like her qualifications in order to be on the task force? I really don't think so. All right. But they're trying to justify why she should be on there. And they did a little bit of why these high schoolers, which none of it makes no sense at all. None of it. All right. Mays first rose to local prominence in June 2020 when she created a live stream video ahead of a Black Lives Matter protest in the city, encouraging people to join in. Yeah, I got to take care. You got to listen to this. The video was viewed over 3,000 times with more than 100 people sharing it. She later says she identified with the Black Lives Matter message because her family were stopped by police in 2019, causing her some personal trauma. All right, I'm gonna skip some of this a little bit because there's something I want to read in particular. I just had in my mind, but I gotta kind of go through this a little bit. Me, my grandmother, my mother were pulling into the driveway. Nothing about any males from my godmother's funeral, and five cops held us at gunpoint out of mistaken identity because the description of the car was the same one as a robbery that was supposedly nearby. She told another news channel, mainstream news. From then on, I knew that this moment is just the epitome of all of us, and I am Black Lives Matter. And we all know what Black Lives Matter is about, right? We all know what it's been about. And it ain't really been about black men, but yet they benefited financially off of black men's deaths. So it's real suspicious for this girl to even be on the Boston Reparations Task Force, and is suspicious about them two high schooler males, Damani and Denelson, to be on the task force as well when they're only juniors in high school, and we don't know what type of knowledge they have at all. That's real suspect to have them three on there. All right, there was something else I want to kind of look through real quick that really made me think here. Let me see. From then on, okay, but she said the thought, blah, 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 blah. I think a lot of people misconstrue the Black Lives Matter movement to only be about police brutality, she said, but when she screamed Black Lives Matter, we mean in every area of society, and one way we can make Black Lives Matter. Oh, this is it right here. I'm going to read this now. This would also makes things very suspect. All right. I talked about how her grandmother, I read that her grandmother, her mother was stopped by police at gunpoint for mistaken identity. All right. And then she says from then, this was like in 2020. And from then on, I knew, this is what she's saying. From then on, I knew that this movement is just the epitome of all of us. And I am Black Lives Matter. That's what she's saying. But she said she thought the movement needs to be about more than police brutality. All right. I think a lot of people misconstrue the Black Lives Matter movement to only be about police brutality, she said. Carrie Mays. But when we scream Black Lives Matter, we mean in every area of society. And one way we can make Black Lives Matter is through voting. That's where I wanted to get y'all to. So in her mind, Black Lives Matter is not just police beating up folks unarmed and for no reason. And recently, the first 5 clowns and the rest of the other 7 clowns after them, what they did to Tyre Nichols, it's not just about that. It's also about voting, according to her. And we've always been talking about, as of the last few years, when it comes to Black Americans, what has voting gotten Black Americans? Because we've been voting for the last 50, 60 years, and everybody else seems to continuously benefit, and we get nothing. And yet this lady here, this young girl here, the young lady, 22 years old, is saying she thinks part of Black Lives Matter is not just police brutality, but it also involves she said Black lives can also matter through voting. So you see what time she's on, right? You see what time she's on. You already see what time she's on. So this whole thing, I'm not even going to read anymore. Let me see here. At school, let me see. By October, she said she registered 320 Black residents to vote in just one weekend. And then my question to you, Miss Mays, young lady, by you getting all on 320 people to vote, do you see that you're getting them to vote, and has voting worked for you? Has voting worked for Black people? For Black Americans? Has voting worked? You got all these 320 people to vote, but has it worked so far? Do you still see people getting their heads bashed in? Getting shot while unarmed, right? Getting their knees put on their neck, unarmed, for no reason, no human mercy for someone. So my question to Carrie Mays, young lady, where has that voting gotten Black folks? All right. I think I read enough where you can see what this is about. These two high school students are possibly Haitian, and then this Black Lives Matter so-called organizer, or maybe she did a few things. I'm not going to say she didn't. And she got 300 people to sign up and vote. And she's saying it's not just about police brutality, but it's also about voting. That sounds real suspect. Her and the two high school Haitian students that are suspected to be Haitian. It doesn't mention whether they're Haitian or not. But what I read earlier, when I read about they also going to be part of deciding if funds should be doled out or handed out to Black immigrants, that made it real suspect right there. And then what their qualifications or their expertise really didn't say much. Because when they talked about the two high schoolers, their expertise was only because the school was in a marginalized area. But that doesn't say what expertise these two 17-year-old boys that are possibly Haitian can add to giving out money to Black Americans. And then because this young lady organized some voters and she got pulled over mistakenly, which, that's not cool. I hate that happened to her. Definitely ain't cool. Not a cool feeling at all. But that's supposed to be between that and her getting voters and getting 320 people to vote. That's supposed to be some type of qualification. I don't think so. All right. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. I'm gonna let you guys chime in and comment. Again, like I say, man, pay attention and piece things together, and you can kind of see where things are moving to. So-called, I use the word predict, but you can kind of predict how things are, where things are going to be moving to. You can kind of see when you start opening your eyes to seeing how things are going. Again, I'm not no psychic. I never claimed to be one. But what I can do is, what I do is I observe and I watch the moves of people. I observe the moves of how things are going, how people are moving. And you can tell by that what's going to go down. All right. And I've been pretty good at doing that, as a matter of fact. So I'm gonna stick with that model of observation, and then figuring out what the plans are. All right. So you guys let me know what you think, man. So I'm real suspicious about this whole thing. Boston folks, y'all better get on this. Your Black Americans in Boston, y'all better jump on this and make them change some things quick, because it's seeming real suspicious right about now. All right. It ain't cool at all. You guys let me know what you think, man. And as always, No matter where you are around the world, you can always bet on the new black media. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Peace. Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.